Singular of dice. After a discussion on the topic, I found out that Oxford Dictionary Online, courtesy of Grammophobia, October 2016, has a usage note stating that historically, dice is the plural of die, but in modern standard English dice is both the singular and the plural. Throw the dice could mean a reference to either one or more than one dice. And Longman, adjusted slightly, for instance, concurs. Dice, noun, count, plural, also, dice, in singular, also die a small block of wood, plastic etc. that has 6 sides with a different number of spots on each side, used in games. Which unsurprisingly surprised me. Now, I have long ago accepted that languages are living things and I am fine accepting change, however in this particular case I am not sure just how accepted this use is. The Oxford Dictionary referred to makes no mention of this use being slang, which suggests it should be valid in proper English as well, and no reference is even made to die except as a see also and the historical use. So, does this mean use is like we lost 1 dice whilst playing the game yesterday, and the 3D artist was developing a dice model to be printed later? Are both valid?
I have never heard of dice being used as a singular instead of die. As a collective noun which could include 1, sure. Go on and roll the dice. How many dice do I roll? Just 1. But as a straight, unambiguous singular, roll 1 dice. Or, even worse, roll a dice. Sounds off to me. So, I went to check published usage to see if I was being overly pedantic. I ran a Google book search for the phrases roll 1 die and roll 1 dice. I got 5,540 results for roll 1 die. 139 results for roll 1 dice. Browsing through the first page of results, a lot of the hits on roll 1 dice seem to be either self-published books or false positives for phrases like roll 1's dice or re-roll 1 dice roll, neither of which support Oxford's rule. Running an engram, the engram viewer had no trouble with roll 1 die but could not find roll 1 dice at all. Add to this the fact that die is commonly used in idioms like the die is cast. This doesn't guarantee that it's current and understood, see short shrift, but it is another piece of evidence on the pile. Based on this and my experience, I would respectfully disagree that roll 1 die is archaic or obsolete in modern English. Even if roll 1 dice is gaining ground as an alternate form, roll 1 die is still the preferred singular, at least in formal writing.
Even if it is legal, I would only use dice in a plural sense. Because either the plural sense definition appears before the singular definition, or most of the examples for dice are plural, and because of the fact that die is specifically listed as the singular of dice, this URL, this URL, this URL. The problem is that according to the Oxford Dictionary, dice can be interpreted either as singular or plural, making the definition ambiguous. If the reader knows the sentences are written in modern standard English, using the word 1 before dice could resolve the problem. How would the reader know the sentences are modern standard English and were not written before the time when this became a standard, or know that the sentences didn't contain older references? In this sentence, dice is not ambiguous because of the word 1. We lost 1 dice whilst playing the game yesterday. However, in the following sentence, we lost dice whilst playing the game yesterday. This sentence could be also interpreted to mean that we lost 1 pair of dice, e.g. that you actually lost 2 dice. Even though this usage is valid according to the dictionary, without the use of the word 1, anyone who has seen the word die used as the singular or found a dictionary entry listing die as the singular will have to guess as to whether dice is being used in the singular or plural sense. The 3D artist was developing a dice model to be printed later. The word a before dice model suggests that there is only one actual model to be printed, but it's not clear whether a dice model refers to one model of only 1 die or to one model of multiple dice. Could either of these sentences be used? The 3D artist was developing a model of only 1 die to be printed later. The 3D artist was developing a model of 2, 3 dice to be printed later.
In my experience, die is the singular of dice. Dictionary.com has my back on this one. One die sounds better to me than one dice. Both forms are currently widely used. Singular die remains more frequent overall, but singular dice is also reasonably common, even in formal writing, and especially in British English. A Google Grams graph for thrower die versus thrower dice shows that die has remained consistently more frequent, but that the difference has been generally shrinking over time. In recent decades, thrower die wins by a factor of about 1.5 to -2. Comparing roller die, dice gives a larger difference, a factor of about 7 to -10. Restricting to UK usage, however, the story changes. In roller die, die is still the winner, but by a much smaller margin, and with thrower die, dice, they have been close to equally popular for a while, with dice more common since 1990, but die regaining ground recently. I speculate that the reason for the throw-roll difference is that throw is mostly used casually, while roll is preferred by serious gamers.
If you want to support the channel, please consider